What's up guys? Today we're talking about the 10 best skills in Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. And before we continue with the ranking itself, I must inform you that in order for an ability to make it to our current rankings, it must be belonging to a generic job. So this means that skills that are originating from specific character exclusive jobs such as Hero, Dragon of Dodgener, etc. will be out of scope. And the reason behind it is simple. Belonging to a generic job makes the skill extremely versatile, and it makes sure that it can be adopted by more or less any character as long as it belongs to the same gender. Also, skills that require level 100 bond to inherit will be out of scope as well. And as usual, the list is totally biased and completely prejudiced, so it is perfectly fine if you disagree with it. So without any further ado, let us begin with number 10. Coming in at number 10 is the Hangman Twist. This is a skill that belongs to the Breaker job and it has a lot of usages. For one thing, it is a grapple and it deals pretty decent damage, but on top of that, it also has very good likelihood to increase the critical chance of your entire party. The reason why it doesn't rank any higher is simple. The buff sadly isn't guaranteed. Sometimes it may affect your entire team, but sometimes it may affect only one member of your party. Despite of that, however, generally I would always consider adopting this skill on more or less any male job. Even if you don't like the Breaker, that's fine. You just make sure that you develop it until you unlock the Hangman Twist and then inherit it to your favorite job. It is a double victory for you. Ranking at number 9 is an incredibly good support skill coming from the Samurai job. Glory Awaits. By the way, it buffs your party attack and critical chance, and that's awesome. Unlike the Hangman Twist though, this time the buffs are guaranteed. And despite the complete lack of damage, if used correctly, this skill can more or less decide the outcome of the fight. So, if you have a male character that mainly supports your team, inheriting Glory Awaits is one of the first things that you must do. But even if you don't have a supportive character, having Glory Awaits in your arsenal of buffs will never be a bad decision. Coming in at number 8 is the Warcry. This is a skill that originates from the Pyro Dancer job, and it is a must in more or less any boss fight if you're using characters that rely heavily on physical damage. The Warcry doesn't do any damage when cast because it is just a buff, but it increases your attack to the roof, which makes your following abilities extremely devastating. In a way, you can imagine this ability like an investment for the coming turns that will greatly repay you with highly elevated damage. Generally speaking though, you would never use Warcry in easy fights, so this is the main reason why it won't rank any higher on the list. It is great, but situational. Still, it is always nice having. And coming in at number 7 is one of the very best healing abilities in the game, the Magical Concert. This is a skill that you can inherit from the Idol job, and it does everything that you would want out of a healing skill. It fills the health bar of your entire party as long as they're not scattered too far away from each other. Magical Concert can be also cast outside of battle, so you can make sure your team is always at full HP before you engage for the combats. I mean, it is an AoE healing skill. I believe I rest my case here. Coming in at number 6 is the Beachside Bret, which is more or less the male version of the Magical Concert, except that it is cheaper when it comes to mind points. This skill comes from the Aquanaut job and it is quite useful. After all, everyone needs healing, right? Especially if the heal can affect your entire party. If we look at it from all sides, the Bret ability has no flaws. Good AoE heal with good range that can be obtained super early in the game without a lot of difficulties. So, long story short, always make sure to have this one in your healing arsenal of skills. Number 5 on the list is taken by another healing skill that originates from the Pyro Dancer job, Mask of Fertility. Unlike the Magical Concert and the Beachside Bret, this ability heals for less, but it does it over time for a number of turns. To be honest, I generally prefer this type of heal not only because the skill is cheaper, only 20 mind points, but also because it can keep the party outside of the dangerous chaos zone, and it can delay the necessity for further heals. In addition, it is automatically cast to your entire party, no matter of their positioning. I know that for some of you, you will disagree and you prefer to use stronger healing abilities and heal for more, but I guess it all boils down to general gameplay strategy. This is the reason why those three skills are placed so close to each other. At the end of the day, they all have one job: to keep your party healthy. However, I think Mask of Fertility is quite underrated skill, and in many cases it actually outperforms the Magical Concert and the Beachside Bret. This is the reason it ranks slightly higher on the list. Coming in at number 4 is the first pure damage skill that enters the ranking. Let's be real, healing is not exactly that important once you have good gears and you are all set up, unless you're fighting some really tough bosses like the ones in the end of the 2 dungeons in the game. So what you need apart from healing is a way to finish fights faster, and one of the best ways to do so is to use Bubble Bale. This is a housekeeper skill available only for female characters, but man, it has insanely good range and it deals ridiculous damage. One of my favorite ways of using it is to keep my Geodancer at full HP and to more or less one-shot everything with a single bubble. Hands down, when it comes to magic skills, when it comes to magic damage, this is one of the very best, and it's 100% worth to inherit it and more or less use it every time when you can. Number 3 on the list is taken by a samurai skill, the Burning Arrow. This is one skill that everyone, and I mean everyone, should inherit. For an extremely simple damaging skill, the Burning Arrow deals insane damage. You can see how I beat enemies higher level than me by simply spamming Burning Arrow left and right, and I have zero issues killing them. It is absolutely unreal. After all, this ability is self-sufficient. Just make sure you perform well on the minigame and your enemies simply die. It is that simple. Easily in top 3 best skills to have in Infinite Wealth. And the runner-up of the video is the Miraculous Voice, an idle skill that will literally save you in so many cases. The reason why you would usually lose a battle is that your party is going to get disabled and you miss their turns, sadly. Well, all you need to make sure this almost never happens is to inherit the Miraculous Voice skill. What it does is to make sure it removes all these abilities from your party, such as stun, paralyze, charm, etc. And it does it regardless of the positioning of your characters. The only reason why this skill isn't the winner is simple. While we can't argue that it is super efficient, this ability is situational. It is a lifesaver sometimes, but you will rarely use it. Something that cannot be said about the winner of the video and number 1 best skill in Infinite Wealth. Let's find out which that skill is. And the winner of the video, and probably this doesn't surprise anyone, the winner of the video is the SubstitutionJitsu, a skill that belongs to the Kunoichi job. More or less, thanks to it you can decide when and if to use any of the skills mentioned before. It is simply the engine of your team, the playmaker that builds a strategy, the most versatile skill in the game. Let's think about it. The ability to choose what comes next is pivotal in so many situations. For instance, it depends on many things, like how healthy your team is anyone stunned or charmed, how healthy your enemies are, which turn is next, is it one of yours or is it one of your opponents? The list is endless. The bottom line is, SubstitutionJitsu is the very best skill which you can use almost every single opportunity that you have. And I'll highly recommend to use it in the Kunoichi class, but even if you don't like the Kunoichi, it is always worth having. Because, once again, you'll be using it all the time. Finally, thanks for watching guys. If you liked the video, give me a thumbs up, let me know what is your top 10 list, and have an amazing rest of your day. Take care guys.
Perfect.